Paralives has just revealed the preview of the first town we are getting. Now, this is a newly public Patreon post. It honestly did come out the other day, but I was deep into the weeds of grading and also had a stomach episode. They give us details on what features to expect in this world and also some great images, and this is getting me even more hyped for early access. First of all, we know it's going to be an open world environment. They want to encourage the player to get out of their house and visit the city. To do that, they plan to have activities to do all around town, places you can meet people, shops, restaurants, workplaces, and more. However, as a reminder, the town will be open world and there won't be any loading screens, but there are going to be rabbit holes. I always need to emphasize that. But the density of the town shouldn't be too low to make sure your pairs can visit various lots in a given day without wasting too much time. For instance, it shouldn't take more than 30 to 60 minutes for a pair to walk to work or to a shop, or of course they're going to lose a big part of their day. Cars will be added later on after the release, but we still feel like a walkable city will be fun to explore. I agree, I like the idea of a walkable city very much, and I also like that it sounds like there's going to be some variety to this town. They mentioned it's going to be filled with interesting locations, landmarks, and beautiful architecture, and we are going to get some sneak peeks of what they're thinking about. They're also going to have a variety of lot types. This includes townhomes as well as suburban homes, and they mentioned that some players like to build it from the ground up, while others prefer to establish their household in pre-made houses. As such, of course, they're going to have various sizes of lots and a range of pre-built houses available for you in town. The Old Town District is a densely populated, European-inspired area with townhomes made of stone and a small castle that was built when the city was first established. Now again, this is just inspiration pictures. I think it looks lovely, and I'm excited to have townhomes in the game right away, of course, as long as they function well. This is another reference picture they collected to show what they're going for Old Town. As you can see here, I think it's really emphasizing restaurants, lots of greenery. I also think bikes would be great in this town whenever we get those, and of course other modes of transportation. At the same time, it does make sense this would be a walkable town. Yet another segment of this town is going to be industrial. During its history though, the town also went through an industrial era where factories and houses were made of bricks. However, since then, buildings have been abandoned while others were renovated into lofts. Now honestly, industrial, for some reason I'm always thinking about Sims 4, but that aside, it is good to see variety in one world, especially since of course we're gonna have one world at launch, and different ways to explore and different types of residences to live in. Not being confined to just mere houses, this is great to have that variety. Now, as far as abandoned, it would be really cool if there were some gameplay features with abandoned places, but for now, I don't know of any. Here we have even more reference photos. Again, it looks really great. They are just reference photos, but it gives you an idea of the general vibe and aesthetic they're going for. Also, I will caution, there's still going to be some kind of limit of how many paras there's going to be in this world. I still expect there might be some somewhat quote-unquote empty areas, and remember, there are still going to be rabbit holes. So even though this looks very bustling and exciting, I just want to express there will be at least some limitations. That aside, I want to take a look at a map of the world right here. It's not exactly a map, but it does express the different regions. There is going to be a forest, rural area, old town, and industrial. Again, I love that there's variety in this town. We have to see what it actually looks like in game. I'm not going to say it's going to be fantastic or not, but I do think it is promising. And on the other side, we do see a map that they're working to design the town. It's establishing the layout of streets, lots, and points of interest. Now, one thing I really am curious about is what those points of interest are actually going to be. I will assure you though that this town does sound like it's going to be a pretty decent size. They will have about 50 to 70 lots in total, which will be some public lots like parks and shops, while others will be residential lots. Now, I think 50 to 70 lots sounds perfectly reasonable. I would have to go back and think about different games and what would be reasonable for these types of worlds. Again, keep in mind there are going to be rabbit holes, so I think that is reasonable, but still gives us a lot to work with. It is notable that Old Town in particular drew inspiration from Quebec's history. They wanted to represent a fortified town that could have been a trading post during the 17th century. With this idea in mind, mind, they have buildings with strong structures that are well maintained. I really love that bit of history, even though they haven't really gone deep into lore with this game so far. I still love the idea that the town has history, and of course, drawing inspiration from a place you know makes sense as a starting point. Now, honestly, as much as I like looking at the reference photos, it's extra exciting to actually see the buildings. This is a house they came up with to test the versatility of their objects. These townhomes with stone walls and shutters on windows are typical of the architectural style they are aiming for. Honestly, I think this looks pretty dead on with the reference photos, at least for their art style. Here is yet another look at some of the townhomes they are testing. Now, do keep in mind we don't know how the streets are going to look like, etc. Again, I understand these are just photos, I don't want to get too hyped up for this, but I'm not gonna lie, I really think it has a lot of charm. And as we saw in so many different build videos, if you don't like the look of things, you definitely can customize it quite a bit. And one thing I always appreciate about Paralives posts like this is they give us many angles to work with, they show us different perspectives, and it gives us an idea of what it's going to look like if you're in different camera modes. Likewise, that also includes a close view of the corner of the house with all those little details. It's those small details I think that really make the world feel lively. Hopefully, of course, the gameplay will match too, but at very least, it looks pretty good to me. Now, the Paralyzed team did want us to pay attention to some of those intricate details. Those include closed off windows that are often seen on old buildings, smaller flags that represent the town's colors, loose electric cables on the wall, probably added when cable TV started getting popular. Metal brackets in an S shape were very common in stone buildings. On the corner of the house, we also have customizable street name signs. And to help make the town feel alive, there are some scaffolding and traffic cones on the right. They started working on some traffic and parking signs as well. And as a fun fact, houses used to be taxed based on the number of windows you had, so it was easy to avoid taxes. Really some really remarkable details for this showcase. I'm really excited to hear what they have to do with this. However, I do want to go over some brief feedback some fans gave that I found pretty interesting too. In that blue area beyond Old Town, there could be some sort of lake or river for fishing or maybe even swimming. A second thought, please make the townies have backstories and relationships with each other. Actually put in the relationships. For example, two families could be rivals so the townies could have negative friendships. All good ideas, we'll have to see if they actually go ahead and do that. I would maybe assume they might not have tons of lore when we first start the game. That's at least what they seemed to indicate in the past. Looks incredible. Since we're getting rabbit holes, I hope we get to make our own in the game somehow. Like maybe we could build a shell and use debug markers to list it as a hospital or police station. Alex answered, "Thank you. Rabbit holes like hospitals will be buildings made in build mode, but they will be empty inside. Players then will be able to edit these lots if they want." So that's also pretty exciting. Alex also revealed that it will be possible to increase the size of the map using a cheat. After release, they will improve tools to make it easier for people to create their own towns. And finally, there are even more surprises to this world. They are planning to have a beach and a seaside area. However, it is still to be confirmed if there is going to be a port at launch. This preview may not tell us all details, but it does give me some faith that this game is going to be a lot of fun to play. Again, something can look good and not be that much fun, but I do think this was a pretty exciting preview. As always, please take care and I'll see you in the next video.